The global property market is currently navigating through a severe and unprecedented storm. You see the headlines every single morning warning of collapsing valuations and rising interest rates wiping out portfolios. The majority of casual investors are completely paralyzed by fear, rushing to liquidate their assets at a massive loss just to escape the uncertainty. They view the current downturn as the ultimate destruction of their hard-earned wealth. However, history reveals a very different truth to those who know where to look. The foundation of true generational wealth is almost never established during a booming economy when prices are inflated by mass euphoria. The greatest financial dynasties are forged precisely during these cold economic winters. The question is not if the market is falling, but who is catching these premium assets. We must understand that a market correction does not destroy intrinsic value, but rather it transfers it from the fearful to the prepared. When the tide goes out and cheap debt evaporates, the true nature of an asset becomes completely exposed. The abandoned luxury developments and distressed estates you see are not inherently worthless. They are simply mispriced by a panicked and irrational market driven by short-term anxiety. The global elite do not look at a decaying property market and see ruin or devastation. They see the underlying architectural skeleton, the irreplaceability of the prime location, and the immense gap between the distressed price and its eternal value. If you allow the noise of the anxious masses to dictate your financial strategy, you will inevitably miss the single most significant wealth transfer opportunity of our entire decade. According to extensive historical data from leading global financial institutions, the most lucrative real estate acquisitions occur off-market during peak distress periods. The mechanism of this elite wealth transfer is entirely hidden from the public eye. Distressed sellers such as over-leveraged developers or exhausted inheritors do not list their prime assets on public platforms, where everyone can see their vulnerability. They actively seek quiet and discreet transactions to save face and stop their financial bleeding. By the time a luxury property opportunity becomes visible to the average retail investor, the true value has already been extracted by insiders. To access this hidden premium market, you must completely restructure your professional network and your approach. It requires establishing deep relationships with specialized private bankers. However, you must absolutely avoid the dangerous trap of mistaking a rapidly falling price for a genuinely good investment. In a severe downturn, the market is inevitably flooded with garbage properties that were poorly conceived, badly located, and structurally flawed. Even during the height of the economic boom, the amateur investor jumps blindly at a massive discount, only to realize later that they have purchased a toxic liability that will drain their capital and their peace of mind. The absolute golden rule of distress investing is uncompromising selectivity and rigorous due diligence. You are never simply buying a discount, you are buying irreplaceability and defensive stability. Focus exclusively on acquiring prime geographic locations, unique architectural provenance, and assets that possess a strong defensive moat against any future economic shocks. Imagine standing confidently before an abandoned historical luxury mansion that others view only as a terrifying financial nightmare. The marble pillars may be slightly weathered and the grand halls might echo with temporary emptiness. But you must train your eyes to see the magnificent resurrection. You must recognize that the distress is solely in the financial situation of the previous owner and not in the eternal stones of the estate itself. When you acquire such a masterpiece, you are not just buying real estate, you are rescuing profound potential and breathing life back into a legacy. This requires a complete shift in your investment mindset from a speculator to a true custodian of value. But how do you accurately calculate the true cost of this monumental resurrection? Without letting your ego blind you to the brutal financial reality of the market? The ultimate secret lies in applying the strict cost-to-cure formula utilized exclusively by top-tier institutional distressed asset funds. Never estimate your renovation costs based on superficial aesthetic improvements alone. You must conduct a ruthless and forensic audit of the unseen infrastructure, including the foundational stability, the complex electrical grids, and all potential environmental liabilities. The elite investor always assumes the worst-case scenario and builds a massive margin of safety directly into their initial acquisition price. If the numbers do not align perfectly with this strict criteria, you must walk away immediately regardless of how emotionally attached you are to the architecture. Furthermore, the true leverage in a severe market downturn is not bank debt but rather the luxury of time and abundant liquid capital reserves. When you purchase a premium distressed asset without the crushing pressure of immediate high-interest loans, time itself becomes your greatest strategic ally. You can afford to comfortably hold the asset, weather the remainder of the economic storm, and execute the necessary renovations with absolute precision rather than rushed panic. Let us elevate this entire concept far beyond mere financial calculus. A property market downturn offers a profoundly rare opportunity for authentic legacy building. When you acquire a historically significant estate and restore it to its former glory, you are doing much more than securing a high return on investment. You are actively preserving culture and creating a physical anchor for your family narrative. In an increasingly digital world, a tangible generational home becomes a powerful symbol of your family resilience. This magnificent physical anchor stands as a permanent testament that while global markets inevitably rise and fall, your family foundation remains completely unshakable. This is precisely why the highest tier of global wealth treats premium real estate not as a disposable commodity, but as a sacred trust that carries their core values across multiple generations. To execute this flawless strategy, you must assemble an impeccable team of specialized experts. The lone wolf perishes quickly in a distressed market. You need a restructuring architect who understands the brutal realities of structural resurrection, and a brilliant legal mind capable of navigating complex distressed titles. Your role is not to swing the hammer but to act as the visionary maestro, directing a symphony of experts to protect your primary wealth from any unforeseen liabilities. As the economic winter continues to freeze the ambitions of the unprepared masses, you must cultivate a mindset of supreme calm and deliberate purpose. It is about moving gracefully through the market chaos while ignoring the terrifying noise of the collapse. You must focus your energy entirely on the fragile hidden value waiting to be rescued and restored. This requires immense emotional discipline and unwavering confidence. When everyone else is selling in sheer panic, your heart rate must remain perfectly steady. When the mainstream media declares the absolute end of real estate, your conviction in intrinsic value must remain resolute. This is not arrogance but the quiet confidence of a seasoned leader who deeply understands the cyclical nature of human history. The winter will inevitably end and the magnificent spring will undoubtedly return to the market. When the glorious spring finally arrives, the landscape will exclusively belong to those who had the immense courage to plant their seeds in the frozen ground. The greatest wealth transfer of our lifetime is happening right now in the silent spaces between the panicked headlines. The distressed masterpieces and the foundational assets of tomorrow's dynasties are quietly waiting for the right visionary custodian. Do not let temporary fear paralyze your long-term strategic vision. Step boldly into the economic storm with an unyielding framework. A flawless team and the absolute conviction that your eternal legacy will be built on the ruins of this specific market correction. Seize this unprecedented opportunity with surgical precision, hold it with endless patience, and secure your golden legacy forever. Stay vigilant, stay informed, and always stay golden.